Hi everybody, this is Chuck Sipe with a quick instructional video on a wonderful Google Chrome add-on called EquatiO. This is an automatic push for your roxbury.org account. So if you're logged in there, it will show up automatically. It is this blue rhombus up here in the toolbar. If we click on that, you'll notice that the EquatiO toolbar does come in and out at the bottom of my screen. So EquatiO is a tool that can be used to deliver mathematics instruction both while we are on flexible instruction days, but also once we get back to the classroom. And while the vast majority of its functionality is applicable to secondary teachers, there is some real great usefulness for elementary teachers, particularly as it pertains to fractions instruction. So what I anticipate doing here in this video is just demonstrating two of the tools. One is the equation editor. The second is its ability to graph. And then I would encourage you to play around with it and see how it can really influence how you deliver instruction. So the equation editor first is this icon, the first icon here on the toolbar. You'll notice when I click on it, the window pops up where I can start typing. But let's go back to the Google Doc first, and you notice I can still type in the Google Doc behind this toolbar. So I'm just going to ask students to simply solve and graph the following. Okay. And then I'm going to go down here. You'll notice some options on the top, but if I go to the three dots, it will highlight this. It'll do a drop down where there are some options, and you'll notice these 5 icons on the top are grayed out. That's because those are essentially your home options. So the first shows you some real font-based options. The second are mathematical symbols and options that you can type right into, and I'll demonstrate those in a second. The third is really some mathematical layout options. And then the fourth are some formula options. Now I just will show you real quickly. The fifth, of course, are favorites. So if you're using something frequently, you can click this gray heart on the right. It'll add it to your favorites. And then when I go to my favorites, you'll notice it is there. So instead of searching for something every single time, you can pick the items that are really relevant to your current unit of instruction, favorite them, and then things become a lot easier. All right, so let's just start here with a function. We'll just call this one y equals the cube root of x. And then in order to make this video really usable for everybody, I'll move my cursor all the way to the right. I'll go back into my options, and I'm going to add a fraction, right? So let's make this plus 3/4. We'll keep it simple. All right, so now that I have my function here, if I go down to my bottom right corner and hit Insert Math, you'll notice it drops that function right into my Google Doc. It does treat it like an image. So if you were to make 3 or 4 of these things, or more than one, and you deleted them from your typing each time, if you went back into your Google Doc and you highlight what is actually an image in your Google Doc and click Edit Math, it'll pull that whole thing right back down into your EquatiO toolbar so you can edit it. All right, so you don't need to keep retyping things over and over in case you lose them. All right. So let's go down. Maybe we want to make an answer key for students, or we want them to describe the behavior of this graph to really enhance their need to think about it. If I click Graph Editor, you'll notice it automatically pulled that function right in and graphed it. If I want to add graphs, I can hit this plus, and I hit f of x to add a function. And I can just add another function here. Let's just make it y equals 2x. Just keep it simple. You'll notice that it is color-coded, red, blue. It dropped it in. Okay, so I'm going to delete this so it's not confusing, and you can do that with just clicking the X. And then the last thing I'm going to do is click Insert Graph, and it's going to grab that graph and drop it right into my Google Doc. Same thing, you'll notice it is really dropped in as an image, so I can resize it in a way that makes sense so it's not so huge on the page. All right, so that's just a quick rundown of these tools. 2 tools. There are other options here, but those are probably the easiest and the most needed. So hopefully you will play around with this tool and use it as a mathematical strategy for when you deliver instruction and formative assessment, both during flexible instruction days and once we're back in the classroom. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks a lot.